Do you know why the wealthiest Jewish families in the world refuse to open their bank accounts on a specific day of the week? I am talking about families worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Families that control real estate empires, investment firms, diamond networks, and global trade routes. These people have more money than most will ever see in 10 lifetimes, and yet there is one day, every single week, where they will not look at a single number. They will not check a balance. They will not transfer a cent. They will not even think about money. And here is the part that will shake you. That one habit, that one discipline, is the very reason their wealth keeps multiplying. I am going to explain exactly why, exactly how, and exactly what ancient principle is behind it. For the past 40 years, I have studied the Talmud, the Torah, the Kabbalah, and the oral traditions that have been passed down through Jewish families for over 3,000 years. I come from a long line of rabbis and merchants who understood something about wealth that the modern world has completely forgotten. What I am about to share with you today is not some generic financial advice. This is a spiritual law. This is a cosmic mechanism that has been operating since the beginning of creation. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why not checking your bank account on this specific day is one of the most powerful wealth-building secrets in existence. But I need to warn you about something first. Toward the end, I will share the most dangerous mistake people make when they learn this principle. A mistake that can actually reverse your financial blessings and push money away from you permanently. So stay with me until the very end, because that warning alone could save your financial future. Let me take you back to when I was 11 years old. It was a Friday evening, and the sun was beginning to set over Jerusalem. My grandfather, may his memory be a blessing, called me into his study. The room smelled of old books and cedar wood. He sat me down, and he looked at me with those deep, knowing eyes. And he told me something I did not understand at the time, but that would change my entire life. He said that money is not what most people think it is. He said money is energy. It is spiritual energy that flows according to spiritual laws. And just like the ocean has tides, wealth has rhythms. He told me that the man who understands the rhythm of wealth will never be poor. The man who fights against it will struggle his entire life, no matter how hard he works. I did not fully grasp it then. I was a child. But as I grew older and I began studying the ancient texts myself, I started seeing what he meant. I started seeing patterns. I noticed that the wealthiest Jewish families, the ones who had maintained their fortune for generations, they all followed a very specific weekly rhythm. And the centerpiece of that rhythm was one day where money was completely untouched, not ignored out of laziness, not avoided out of fear, deliberately, intentionally, sacredly set apart. When I was in my early 30s, I was going through the hardest financial period of my life. I had debts. I had failed investments. I was working constantly, 7 days a week, checking my accounts obsessively, moving numbers around, trying to squeeze every last cent out of every single hour. And nothing was working. The harder I pushed, the more money slipped through my fingers. Then I remembered my grandfather's words. I remembered the rhythm, and I decided to apply the ancient principle exactly as it had been taught for thousands of years. Within 3 months, everything shifted. Opportunities appeared that I could not have manufactured. Debts began to resolve in ways I never expected. Money started flowing toward me instead of away from me. That is when I knew this was not just philosophy. This was real. This was a spiritual law operating with the precision of gravity. I want to take a quick moment here because this is important. Everything I teach on this channel comes from decades of studying these ancient texts, but I also put the most powerful principles into a book called The Ancient Wealth Code. I am actually holding it right here. This book contains the complete system, all 10 principles that Jewish families have used for 3,000 years to build and protect generational wealth. If you are serious about transforming your financial life, grab your copy right now. The link is in the description below and pinned in the first comment. Now let me continue because what I'm about to explain next is crucial. I know exactly what many of you are experiencing right now. You are working harder than ever. You are putting in more hours than anyone around you. You are constantly thinking about money, worrying about bills, checking your accounts multiple times a day, calculating and recalculating, and despite all that effort, despite all that mental energy, you are still stuck. You feel like you are running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up while you stay in the same place. I know this because I have sat with thousands of people in this exact situation. Business owners, professionals, even people who earn good salaries, but somehow never seem to get ahead. And I always ask them the same question. Do you ever stop? Do you ever completely, fully, 100% stop thinking about money? And the answer is almost always the same. No. They never stop. They cannot stop. Their mind is always running the numbers. And that, my friend, is exactly the problem. You see, the modern world has sold you a lie. The lie is that wealth comes from constant hustle, constant grinding, never taking your foot off the gas. The world tells you that if you stop even for a moment, you will fall behind. Someone else will take your spot. The money will dry up. So you keep pushing, keep checking, keep worrying. And what happens? You burn out. Your creativity dies. Your decisions get worse. You become reactive instead of strategic. And the money responds accordingly because money is energy, and desperate, anxious, fearful energy repels wealth. The Talmud teaches something radically different. In Tractate Beitzah, the ancient rabbis recorded a principle that has guided Jewish wealth for millennia. It says that all of a person's sustenance for the year is allocated from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, except for expenditures for Shabbat and festivals. Think about what that means. The amount of money you are going to earn this year has already been determined. Your effort matters, yes, but the ultimate amount is set by a force far greater than your hustle. What changes the allocation, what increases it, is not working 7 days a week. It is honoring the spiritual rhythm. It is understanding that when you stop on the appointed day, you are not losing money. You are telling the universe that you trust the system. You are declaring that your wealth does not depend on your anxiety. It depends on your alignment with divine law. The ancient rabbis codified this into specific, actionable practices that anyone can follow. This is not mysticism floating in the air. This is a structured system with clear rules, clear timing, and clear results. Everything I'm teaching you in this video is only the beginning. If you are serious about applying these ancient Jewish wealth principles to your life, I wrote a book called The Ancient Wealth Code. It contains the complete system, all 10 principles that Jewish families have used for 3,000 years to build, protect, and pass down wealth from generation to generation. This is not theory. This is the exact playbook. It is available right now in the description below and pinned in the first comment. Go get your copy today, because knowledge without action is worthless. Now let me tell you what I have witnessed personally. People from every background, every religion, every country who applied this single principle and watched their finances transform. They were not all Jewish. They did not all speak Hebrew, but they all did the same thing. They trusted the ancient wisdom and followed the instructions, and the results spoke for themselves. So let me now reveal exactly what this principle looks like in practice, step by step, so you can begin applying it this very week. The day I am talking about is Shabbat, the 7th day, from Friday at sundown to Saturday at sundown. This is the day that Jewish millionaires, billionaires, and the wealthiest families in history have set apart as completely sacred and completely free from any financial activity. Now, before you think this is just a religious obligation, understand something. The practice of Shabbat, as it relates to wealth, is rooted in one of the deepest spiritual laws in the Kabbalah. The Zohar, the primary text of Jewish mysticism, explains that Shabbat is the source of all blessing for the week. It says that the 6 days of the week receive their blessing from the seventh day. Read that again. The other 6 days receive their abundance from Shabbat. That means when you honor Shabbat properly, you are not losing a day of productivity. You are activating the spiritual source that feeds all the other days. You are charging the battery that powers your entire financial week. When you skip it, when you work through it, when you check your bank account and send emails and stress about deals on Shabbat, you are cutting yourself off from the source. You are trying to run a machine without plugging it in. This is why every Jewish wealth teaching, without exception, begins with Shabbat. It is the foundation. Without it, nothing else works properly. So let me walk you through exactly how to practice this principle for maximum financial impact. The first thing you need to understand is preparation. Shabbat does not begin when the sun goes down on Friday. It begins with your preparation during the day on Friday. The Talmud teaches that whoever prepares before Shabbat will eat on Shabbat. This means you must spend Friday actively organizing your financial world so that when sundown arrives, everything is handled. Pay any bills that need to be paid before sundown. Answer any financial emails or messages. Close any pending transactions. Review your accounts one final time. The point is to reach sundown with a clean slate. Nothing pending, nothing hanging over your head, nothing that will tempt you to check your phone once Shabbat begins. The second element is physical disconnection. When sundown arrives on Friday, you put your phone away. Not on silent, away. You do not check your bank account. You do not check your investment portfolio. You do not check cryptocurrency prices. You do not look at business emails. You do not calculate expenses in your head. You completely, radically, absolutely disconnect from anything related to money. The Talmud in Tractate Shabbat says that one should not even discuss business matters on Shabbat. Not just avoid doing business, but avoid even talking about it or thinking about it. This is where the real power is. When you force your mind to stop running the financial treadmill for 25 hours, something extraordinary happens in your subconscious. Your mind begins to reset. Creative solutions to problems you have been grinding on for weeks suddenly appear. New ideas emerge. Clarity replaces confusion. I have experienced this myself more times than I can count. My best business decisions, my most profitable ideas, my clearest strategies, they all came to me on Saturday night after Shabbat ended, when my mind had been completely rested and reset. The third element is elevation. Shabbat is not just about stopping. It is about elevating. During these 25 hours, you fill the space that money usually occupies with something higher. You spend time with family. You eat a beautiful meal. You study wisdom. You pray. You reflect on gratitude. You connect with the divine source of all abundance. The Kabbalah teaches that on Shabbat, every soul receives what is called a neshama yetera, an additional soul. This additional spiritual capacity allows you to connect with higher levels of consciousness that are simply not available during the 6 working days. When you use this elevated state to express gratitude for what you already have, you are sending the most powerful signal possible to the universe. You are saying, I am abundant. I am provided for. I trust the source. And that signal attracts more of the same. The fourth element is intentional re-entry. When Shabbat ends on Saturday night, there is a ceremony called Havdalah, which means separation. This ceremony marks the transition from the sacred time back into the working week. And this is where you set your financial intention for the coming week. During Havdalah, as you smell the spices and see the flame, you hold a clear picture in your mind of what you want to create financially in the next 6 days. You do not beg, you do not plead, you declare, you state your intention with absolute confidence because you have just spent 25 hours connected to the source of all blessing. You are charged, you are aligned, you are ready. The fifth element is consistency. This is not something you do once and forget about. This is a weekly practice, every single week, without exception. The power of Shabbat compounds over time. The first week, you might feel restless, anxious, tempted to check your phone. By the fourth week, you will start noticing shifts. By the 12th week, you will wonder how you ever lived without it. I have seen this pattern repeat itself hundreds of times. The people who commit to the full 12-week cycle almost never go back to their old way of living. The results are too dramatic to ignore. Now, everything I have shared with you today is powerful, but I want to be honest with you. This is just a fraction of the complete system. In the ancient wealth code, I lay out all 10 principles step by step, principle by principle. What you have learned in this video is 2 of those 10 principles. The remaining 8 go even deeper, and some of them are the most transformative teachings I have ever shared. The link is in the description and pinned in the first comment. If this video has opened your eyes, the book will change your life. Let me tell you what to expect when you begin this practice. Within the first week, you will notice a subtle but unmistakable sense of peace around money. The anxiety will begin to loosen its grip. You will catch yourself reaching for your phone on Saturday and stopping, and in that moment of stopping, you will feel something shift inside you. Within 7 to 14 days, you will start seeing what I call unexpected provisions. A check you forgot about arrives. Someone pays back a debt you wrote off. A new client appears out of nowhere. A bill gets reduced. These are not coincidences. These are the first signs that the spiritual channel is opening. Within 30 days of consistent practice, you will experience a fundamental change in your relationship with money. Money will stop feeling like something you chase and start feeling like something that flows toward you. Your decisions will be clearer. Your confidence will be stronger. Your entire financial energy will be different, and people around you will notice. But now, I need to give you the warnings I promised at the beginning, and please take these seriously, because they are not optional. The first warning is this: do not use Shabbat as an excuse for laziness during the other 6 days. The principle only works when you give your absolute best effort from Sunday through Friday. Shabbat is the rest of a warrior, not the rest of a coward. The Talmud is very clear about this. You must plant, you must build, you must work with excellence during the 6 days. Then, and only then, does the 7th day become a source of blessing. I have seen people hear this teaching and immediately start working less, not resting on Shabbat, just working less in general, and their finances got worse, not better. The spiritual law requires both sides of the equation: maximum effort for 6 days and complete rest on the 7th. The second warning is about intention. If you practice Shabbat purely as a money trick, purely as a strategy to get richer, it will not work. The universe knows the difference between genuine spiritual alignment and manipulation. Your rest on Shabbat must come from a place of genuine trust, genuine gratitude, genuine connection to something higher than profit. The money is a result, not the goal. The goal is alignment with divine law. The prosperity follows naturally. The Talmud in Pirkei Avot says that whoever makes use of the crown of Torah for personal gain will perish. The same principle applies here. Use this wisdom with pure intentions, and it will bless you beyond measure. Use it with selfish manipulation, and it will backfire. The third warning is about consistency. Do not start this practice and then abandon it after 2 weeks because you did not see $1 million in your account. The spiritual world operates on its own timeline. Your job is to be faithful to the practice. The results will come when they are meant to come, and they will come in ways you did not expect. I have seen people quit after 10 days and then complain that the ancient wisdom does not work. That is like planting a seed on Monday and digging it up on Wednesday because you do not see a tree yet. Trust the process. Commit to 12 weeks minimum, and let the universe do its part. There is a deeper teaching from the Kabbalah that I want to share before I close. The Zohar explains that the act of stopping, the act of ceasing from creative work on the seventh day, is actually an imitation of the Creator. When the Creator made the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh, that rest was not because of tiredness. It was because rest itself is an act of creation. The space, the pause, the emptiness. That is where the next wave of creation begins. When you stop on Shabbat, you are not doing nothing. You are creating the space for your next level of abundance to be born. You are making room for blessings that cannot enter a life that is already crammed full of anxiety and hustle and noise. I look at the world right now, in 2025, and I see more financial anxiety than ever before. Markets are volatile. Inflation is squeezing families everywhere. People are working 2 and 3 jobs and still falling behind. Artificial intelligence is changing industries overnight. Uncertainty is at an all-time high. And in the middle of all this chaos, the ancient Jewish principle of Shabbat stands like a rock. It has survived the destruction of 2 temples. It has survived exile, persecution, and the Holocaust. It has survived every economic crisis in human history. And the families who practiced it did not just survive, they thrived. When everything around you is chaos, these principles are your anchor. They have been tested by 3,000 years of history, and they have never failed, not once. So let me bring this all together for you. First, you now understand that wealth operates on a spiritual rhythm, and the seventh day is the source of blessing for the entire week. Second, you know the exact 5-element practice for honoring this rhythm, from preparation on Friday to intentional re-entry on Saturday night. Third, you understand the critical warnings that protect you from misusing this knowledge. This is not theory. This is practical, proven wisdom that has built more generational wealth than any business school on the planet. You are not weak for seeking this knowledge. You are wise. You are discerning. You are the kind of person who looks beyond the surface and seeks the root cause. The Talmud teaches that the Creator helps those who help themselves, and by watching this video and learning this principle, you have already taken the first step. Now the choice is yours. You can go back to checking your bank account 7 days a week, running on anxiety and wondering why nothing changes. Or you can begin this ancient practice this very Friday and step into a rhythm of abundance that has been available to humanity for over 3,000 years. The choice is yours, and I believe you will make the right one. If this teaching resonated with you, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on notifications. Every week, I share ancient Jewish wisdom about wealth, prosperity, and spiritual law. These are secrets that most rabbis will not teach publicly, and I am making them available to everyone because I believe this knowledge belongs to the world. Leave a comment below and tell me what resonated most with you in this video. Share it with someone you love who is struggling financially right now. They need to hear this, and hit that like button so this video reaches more people who are searching for real answers. I want to leave you with a blessing. May the Creator open the gates of abundance over your life this week. May your finances be blessed and protected. May clarity replace confusion in every decision you make. May peace fill your home and your heart, and may prosperity flow to you and through you for generations to come. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a co-creator with the divine. Use these ancient secrets wisely. Shalom.